loved flying kites when I was growing up. It brought me a sense of freedom as the wind took the kite high into the air, but at the same time, I was in control of how far it could go. In the same way, kite surfers enjoy that sense of being released from boundaries, but at the same time, being in control. Now, the young lady I'm going to introduce to you fought something that was really holding her back from leading her life. Now, she has been released from that. She found the determination and the help she needed to take her life in the direction she wanted to go. Her courage and resolve gave her what we like to call the real winning edge.
The doctor came in on call. The doctor told me that it could either be a very bad virus or it could be leukemia. And he shared the news with us that it was very, very likely that I had leukemia cancer. How could me, a normal girl who was very active, and how could this happen to me? I originally got into kiteboarding from the influences of my brother and my dad. They began teaching me.
We used to do a lot of water skiing, and so they learned from a young age, probably kindergarten, behind the boat, how to water ski and how to board. So that worked well, really, into learning how to kiteboard.
I got to know Amanda through our kiting community. When you're kiteboarding, you're hooked in, and the kite's power is pulling your core, and you're regulating that with your arms. You're not getting that force through your upper body. As soon as you get riding, you find that you want to go in the air. If you want to go in the air, instead of pulling you across the water, it lifts you into the air. You're just flying with the wind, and it's quiet. It's pretty magical. And
I spent the entire summer kiteboarding. We also were able to participate in a small competition. It involved a race. It also involved who could get the largest air, who could do tricks. Kiteboarding is like such a joy to me and so empowering. It's just you in the water and the wind.
I've taught hundreds of students kiting over the years, and there's something about her. I think Fearless, she doesn't see fear. She goes into life boldly. She puts herself out there in ways that it's admirable. It's a beautiful thing.
It was my sophomore year of high school, and things were going incredible. It was actually my favorite year of school altogether. I was working very hard towards high achievements that I wanted to reach with running track. And I was training right up to my family went on a vacation to Florida. Starting to have some pain. I also was just beginning to feel very exhausted. I started developing like red bumps on my body almost. We didn't think it was anything big at all. I was just feeling awful. Once I arrived home, there was that next day, my mom brought me into urgent care immediately. They began doing tests. The next day, I started getting ready for school. I still was just feeling so awful. I developed a huge scab on my forehead that was just black and dark.
When we went to the hospital, we found out she had cancer. You think you're on your right path here, you know what I mean? You have a daughter, a wonderful daughter, and she loved life, always had a smile on her face. And then one day, your whole world just changes.
Leukemia is a cancer of the white blood cells, and they help you deal with infection. Once in a while, something goes wrong in one of these white blood cells, and it becomes programmed abnormally and begins to grow uncontrollably.
And 3 days after I was I suffered a stroke. And this was occurred behind my left ear right here, which affected my right side of my body. I was no longer able to read. My whole right side of my body was just extremely numb. I started showing symptoms of another stroke. And at this point, though, I had already started chemotherapy.
During the first month or so of her treatment, she had several strokes. She was quite ill.
My course of treatment and the outlook on things were pretty negative.
One of the life-saving medicines for her type of leukemia, and that was arsenic. And that was one of the key medicines that helped to save her life.
The stroke was the huge battle through the whole experience. With the cancer, my first 52 days, I left the hospital. There was no sign of any chemo cells in me anymore. So it was just like incredible, because even the doctor wasn't expecting that at all. It was really amazing how many people were praying for me not only amongst my friends and my family, but just even around the U.S. and world. And it definitely was because of that support that really gave you more hope and a positive outlook on it all.
She was very heroic and worked very, very hard and did intensive rehab to the point where today you'd never know that she had a series of very serious strokes.
And it's your faith that gets you through this. You think you have strong faith, and then God takes you to a whole different level than you ever had before. And it was just an outpouring of all the prayers and everything, and I just saw miracles in her, what she had to go through.
Right away, I started getting involved with many organizations that are supporters of cancer and looking into more research. And I've done an enormous amount of speeches for nonprofits, for schools.
Coming down with cancer and then having a stroke during treatment, could have just thrown in the towel and been very sour, but she embraced it and took on cancer head on and defeated it.
She's always a person that does things first. Think in her battle with cancer, to her it was just another chore that she had to get through, and she was just determined to do it, and she did it very well.
Her ability to stay so positive really propelled her to where she is now. It would have been very, very easy for her to, especially the circumstances that were given to her as such a young, 14, 15-year-old girl, where appearance is everything. It would have been very easy for her to kind of crawl inside herself and say, I can't do it. There's something just in her that made her just really push forward, push through the struggles. It was a very hard process for Amanda to go through, any teenager.
I'm really grateful that actually cancer has brought so many amazing things into my life. Advice I would give to other people going through struggles is take those challenges and use them to better your life, to influence others. What has given me the real winning edge when battling through leukemia cancer were all the prayers and all the amazing amount of support that was offered to me through all these challenges.